Okay. Good morning, everyone. Yesterday we have seen about object-oriented features, messaging, what is object orientation, what are the object-oriented programming features, object-oriented system development, object-oriented system analysis, object-oriented software development lifecycle. Okay, elements in object model, object-oriented construction and object-oriented programming phase, case tool. Okay, so today we are going to see how to identify classes. In yesterday's session we have seen how to identify classes. Okay, so after identifying what we have to do, okay, so we are going to see this. See, identifying objects and classes. So whenever we have to draw the diagram or UML diagram, or to draw any type of UML diagram, that is unified modeling language, there are several diagrams under unified modeling diagrams. Okay, unified modeling diagrams, UML diagrams. Okay, there are several types sub diagrams under UML: object diagram, class diagram, sequence diagram, collaboration diagram. Okay, so to draw any type of UML diagram, first we have to identify the classes and objects based on that requirements. Based on users needs or user requirements, we have to identify the classes and objects. Okay, for that we have to use some classification theory. What is classification? Here we have to classify that requirements, or we have to classify the classes based on users requirements. Okay, so your classification means identifying the class of real world object rather than individual objects within the system. For example, see here some objects like hire, promote, retire. These are the objects of class employee. Employee having some attributes or some methods or some objects like, for example, hire. We are going to hire employee. We are going to promote the employee, or employee will be retire. Okay, these are the objects of the class employee. This is the classification of that employee class. So based on the classification, we have to identify that objects and classes. Then next one, there are some strategies or approaches for identifying objects from classes. Okay, so four strategies are there. First one is noun phrase approach. Second one is common class patterns. Third one is use case driven approach, and last one is CRC cards. Okay, we will see one by one. So first one is noun phrase approach. Everybody knows or everybody aware about noun. So here this approach is proposed by Rebecca Verbrock, Brian Wilkerson, and Lauren Wiener. These are the authors, or these are the researchers. Okay. So this approach is proposed by these researchers. So according to this approach, nouns are considered as candidate classes and verbs are considered as its methods. Means here nouns means any name, any object name or any class name. For example, employee. Okay, this is the noun. So consider the use case, or the nouns are considered as classes. Okay, so their attributes are considered as, or that verbs are considered as methods of that classes. So nouns are converted into singular if plural are there. Okay, everybody knows about singular and plural. So nouns means candidate classes. Okay, so candidate classes are divided into three categories, which are there. First one is relevant classes, irrelevant classes. We can skip that irrelevant classes because if the class is irrelevant, so there is no use of that irrelevant class. Last one is fuzzy classes. Okay, so there are some guidelines for selecting candidate classes from relevant and fuzzy categories. So there are three categories: relevant classes, irrelevant, and fuzzy classes. From that we are going to select candidate classes from relevant and fuzzy categories, because that second category is irrelevant classes. So if if the use of irrelevant class, there is no use of that class, so we have to skip that class or we have to remove that. Okay, so these are the guidelines for selecting that candidate classes. The first one is remove redundant classes. The removing redundant classes means what is redundant class? If two classes having same information are called as redundant classes. That means there are, for example, there are two classes containing the similar information. So there is a duplication or this is a redundant class. So we have to select only one class from that redundant class. So we have to remove that redundant class. So second one is create adjective classes. Here creating adjective classes means if the use of an adjective shows a different behavior of the object, then we have to create a new class. Means, for example, the purpose of saving account and checking account having both are having different terms, the use of both the classes are different, so we have to create a separate class for each terms. So separate class for saving account or separate class for another account. So we have to create an adjective classes or we have to create separate classes for both the terms. That is creating adjective classes. Third one is do not create attribute classes. Do not create attribute classes. That means we have we do not have to create the classes of attributes. For example, employees the class or attributes of employees are name, date of birth, designation, employee id, etc. So we do not have to create the classes of that attribute. Okay, so last one is removing irrelevant classes. Removing irrelevant classes means suppose there is no use of any irrelevant class, we have to remove that irrelevant class. For example, if we are considering example of employee, we are considering example of employee and we are taking student as a class in that employee, so there is this student class is irrelevant from that use case. Okay, so we have to remove that irrelevant class. So second approach is, you've seen first approach noun phrase approach. Second approach is common class pattern approach. Okay, common class pattern approach. What happened in this approach? This approach is based on knowledge base of the common classes that have been proposed by various researchers. We have seen the name of researchers. The researchers have proposed some knowledge based common classes or some common patterns for finding candidate class and objects. Based on the researchers patterns, we have to select the approach. Okay, see the table here. This is the table for patterns with their description and example. First pattern, that is concept class. What that concept class includes non-tangible principles or ideas. Non-tangible means we cannot touch that object or we cannot touch that things. Okay, that is non-tangible, that is not clear. Okay, not clear. User is not clear about that class. For example, performance, you cannot create the class of that performance. Okay, for example, system performance, employees performance, you cannot create separate class for that concept. Okay, so second pattern is event class. Event class means things that occur at a given date and time or as steps in an ordered sequence. What is the event class? Like for example, tender, you have to purchase or tender, interrupt or purchase order. Consider the purchase order. Purchase order class is having some fixed date or fixed time, or this is the order sequence. Okay, then third one is organization class. Organization class means collection of people or resources. Organization having several peoples or several resources or several departments. For example, inventory department, finance department, research department. Okay, that organization class also includes people class. So people class means there are different roles that users play in interacting with that application. Okay, so people class means teachers, students, or employees. Okay, this is the people class under organization class. So fourth pattern is place class. Place class means physical allocation. Physical allocations that the system keeps information about. Okay, place class means there are physical destination or physical allocations. Wait. Okay. Okay, place class means physical allocations. For example, travel office or buildings. Okay, so we can create a place class for that physical locations, physical things. Okay, so fifth approach is or fifth pattern is tangible things and device class. Tangible things means touchable objects or devices, that is device classes. So what is the description about the tangible things? Physical objects with which the application interacts. For example, cars, ATM machines, we can interact with ATM machine. Okay, so user will interact or user can touch that physical objects. Okay, these are the 5 patterns of common class. Okay, so first one is concept class, second one is event class, third one is organization class, under that people class is there, fourth one is place class, fifth one is tangible things and device classes. Okay, so next approach or third approach is use case driven approach. Every every time we have to draw a use case diagram under UML, unified modeling language. Under the UML there are several diagrams. From that one is use case diagram. Okay, so use case modeling is a problem driven approach to object oriented analysis, in which designer first considers the problem and not the relationship between the objects. Whenever a customer comes with their requirements, we have to analyze that requirements. From that, the designer has to consider the problem statement based on that request, instead of getting the relationship between that objects. First designer has to create problem statement. Okay, after that problem statement, or after analyzing the system, then user or designer can focus on that relationship between classes and objects. Okay, so use cases are used to model the scenario. What is the scenario here? Consider the example of employee management system. So there are several use cases. Employee, the use case diagram contains actors, use cases, associations and system. Okay, you will see this in next chapter about the diagram. So the designer then examines the steps of each scenario to determine what objects are needed for the scenario to occur. So that means designer has to examine the number of steps. There are several steps for that system. As we are considering employee management system, there are several steps or several department or several use cases for that employee. Okay, so at least one scenario must be prepared for each different use case instance. So each scenario shows different sequence of interaction between actors and the system. Suppose employee has to log in, employee has to register with system. Okay, so this approach helps us to understand the behavior of the system's object based on that use case. Here what happen in use case driven approach, the system tells us how what is the behavior, how or how the system behaves with that object, or what is the actual behavior of the system. Okay, so identifying classes and their behavior through sequence or collaboration modeling. So we can identify the classes or their behaviors using sequence diagram or collaboration diagram. Okay, so when we are talking about sequence diagram or collaboration diagram, when it comes into picture, when you arrive at the lowest use case level, okay, at the last, you can create a child sequence diagram, okay, or collaboration diagram for that use case. Using these diagrams, you can model the implementation scenario. Okay, so using sequence diagram, you will get the implementation scenario. So both use case and sequence diagrams are used to model the scenario in the system. Here you can see the examples. Okay, assume a use case scenario for invalid pin. Okay, whenever you are going to ATM, that use case is invalid pin. Okay, whenever you are going to ATM, see that there are 6 steps here. 6 steps. First one is you have to insert ATM card into that ATM machine. After that, that ATM machine will request for pin. Third step is you have to insert the pin. Fourth step is that bank server will verify that pin. If that pin is invalid, uh, while we are entering that invalid pin, okay, use case is invalid pin, we have to enter invalid pin. So we have to check what that system will do. So the fifth step is, if invalid pin, then that ATM machine should display a bad message. Okay, or last step is your ATM card will be ejected. Okay, see the diagrammatic view. Here see the sequence diagram for that invalid pin use case. So here bank client means user. Okay, user will insert the ATM card into ATM machine. See, these are the use cases, or here these are the classes: bank client, ATM machine and bank operator. whenever bank client will insert the ATM card, that ATM machine will check that card, or ATM machine will send return message, or it will request for pin. Okay, then after that user will or bank client will enter the pin, then ATM machine will send request to that, or request to bank operator or bank server to for verification or to verify that pin. Then bank operator or that bank server will verify that pin or check that pin is valid or invalid. As we are entering invalid pin, so it will send the bad pin number or send the message to ATM machine. Okay, then ATM machine will send the message to bank client that you have entered wrong pin or bad pin number message. Okay, then ATM machine will send again one request that take your ATM card or ATM, then bank client will be eject that ATM card, then ATM machine will display a main screen. Okay, this is the sequence diagram for ATM machine, or whenever we are entering invalid pin into that ATM, this is the internal scenario. Okay, this is the sequence diagram for ATM machine. ATM machine while we are entering wrong pin. The next one is collaboration diagram for that invalid pin. See the collaboration of that bank client, bank operator and ATM machine. So we have seen the several steps. So first step is inserting ATM card. We will insert that ATM card. Bank client will insert that ATM card into ATM machine. Then second step is request pin. Who is going to request that pin? ATM machine will request that pin to bank client. Okay, then third step is entering pin. The bank client will enter the pin into ATM machine. Then fourth step is verification of that pin. Who will verify that pin? Bank operator will verify that pin. Okay, so it will send the reverse message to bank operator, will send reverse message to ATM machine that you have entered bad pin. Okay, then sixth step is displaying bad pin message. Who will display that bad pin message? ATM machine will display that bad pin message to bank client. Okay, then seventh step is request to take ATM card. Who will request? That ATM machine will request to take your ATM card. The eighth step is ejecting ATM card. Who is going to eject that ATM card? Bank client or that user will going to eject that ATM card from ATM machine. Okay, and last step is display main screen. So ATM machine will going to display main screen after ejecting that ATM card. This is the collaboration diagram for invalid pin use case. Our use case here, understand that our use case is invalid pin. This is for this both diagram, sequence diagram and collaboration diagram for entering invalid pin. Okay, so this is enough for today's lecture.